Curry spins. Step back, trying to draw another foul, and it goes in! Oh, Steph Curry!
Steph Curry didn't just change basketball. He made a decision that turned him into a billion-dollar brand. And the crazy part is, it had nothing to do with a three-pointer, a championship, or even an MVP award.
Oh, and now Curry gets it right back from half court, and it's good! A Curry moment in Boston!
It came from a shift in mindset, a moment where Stephen Curry stopped thinking like an athlete chasing contracts and started thinking like an owner building leverage. Because the truth is, basketball made Curry famous, but ownership is what's making him wealthy. When Curry entered the NBA in 2009 with the Golden State Warriors,
Use the Beadron screen. Jumper right through.
he wasn't viewed as a future global icon. He wasn't LeBron. He wasn't a physical phenomenon, and he didn't come from a powerhouse program. He was a skinny guard out of Davidson College who had shocked the NCAA tournament, but still carried real doubts about whether his game would translate long-term. And those doubts didn't disappear. They got louder. Early in his career, Curry dealt with multiple ankle injuries that forced him off the court and into surgery.
Ariza trying to find some room. Curry falls down and grabs his right leg. Curry asking for help to get up. He fell awkwardly.
At one point, his future wasn't about superstardom, it was about survival in the league. That uncertainty led to one of the most important financial decisions of his career. In 2012, Curry signed a 4-year, $44 million extension with Golden State. At the time, it made sense.
They were going to throw a lob to Darrell Wright, but Adrian got in the way.
And Steph Curry on the board with a teardrop.
It gave Curry security and gave the team protection against his injury risk. But what nobody realized was that this contract would soon become one of the biggest bargains in NBA history. Because right after signing it, everything changed. Curry didn't just improve, he exploded.
Curry at 2, and he drops it in with 1.4.
In 2015, he won his first MVP and led the Warriors to a championship. In 2016, he followed it up with the first unanimous MVP season ever.
Thank you very much, man.
NBA history as Stephen Curry becomes the league's first unanimous winner of the MVP award, accepting the honor at a ceremony inside Oracle Arena.
Completely redefining what was possible on a basketball court. The three-point shot went from a complementary weapon to the most important shot in the game, and Curry was the reason.
Again, here's Curry for the record. It's good! And there it is!
He stretched defenses to distances that had never been seen before. He made impossible shots feel routine, and he inspired an entire generation of players to change how they approached the game. But while Curry was becoming the most valuable player in basketball, his contract made him one of the most underpaid superstars in the league. Other players were making double his salary, and this is where the story shifts. Because most athletes in that position would focus on what they weren't earning. Curry focused on what he could build. If the salary was limited, the brand had to be unlimited. At the time, Nike dominated basketball. That's where the biggest stars went. That's where the global money was. But Curry's relationship with Nike didn't evolve into what many expected. Meanwhile, Under Armour saw something different. They weren't just looking for an athlete to endorse their product. They were looking for someone to build around. And Curry recognized the opportunity immediately. With Nike, he would have been one of many stars. With Under Armour, he could be the star. That distinction changed everything. Because when Curry signed with Under Armour, he didn't just take a deal, he took a position. As his performance on the court skyrocketed, so did his influence off it. His style of play became global. Kids started copying his shooting form. Coaches started designing offenses around spacing and three-point shooting. And every time Curry pulled up from deep, it wasn't just a highlight, it was marketing. Under Armour grew with him, but the real billion-dollar move came next. Curry didn't stop at endorsement money, he moved toward ownership. In 2020, he launched Curry brand under Under Armour. That wasn't just another signature line, it was a structural shift. Instead of being paid to represent a company, Curry positioned himself to benefit from the company's growth. That means revenue sharing. That means long-term upside. That means every product sold becomes part of a larger financial engine. It's the same blueprint that turned Michael Jordan into a billionaire through Jordan Brand. And once that shift happens, everything changes. Because now you're not just earning, you're scaling. Curry Brand wasn't built to be just sneakers. It expanded into apparel, youth basketball initiatives, and global programs designed to connect the brand directly to the next generation. That's a long-term play, because if you win the next generation early, your brand grows with them over time. And Curry's influence on young players is massive. He didn't just dominate the game, he reshaped how it's played at every level. But Curry didn't stop with one business. He built an ecosystem. Through his company SC30 Incus, Curry created a structure that allowed him to expand into multiple industries. This is what separates athletes who make money from athletes who build wealth. You need infrastructure. You need a system that turns opportunities into assets. And that's exactly what Curry built. One of his most important moves was co-founding Unanimous Media. That gave him control over storytelling, which is one of the most powerful forms of ownership in today's economy. Because when you control content, you control narrative. You're no longer just the subject of the story, you become the one creating it. That opens the door to film, television, digital platforms, and long-term intellectual property. At the same time, Curry expanded into investments. He aligned himself with companies in health, technology, and consumer products, consistently following the same principle. Don't just promote, participate. Don't just endorse, own. That pattern shows up again and again in his decisions, and it's the foundation of his financial growth. Meanwhile, his NBA career kept fueling everything. Massive contracts, including one of the first $200 million deals in league history, gave him capital. Championships gave him credibility, and global exposure turned every game into a marketing opportunity. Every deep three wasn't just a highlight, it was brand reinforcement. Every playoff run increased his value. Every moment on the court fed into the business off the court. But there's another layer that makes Curry's brand so powerful: trust. Curry has one of the cleanest, most consistent public images in sports. He's seen as disciplined, family-oriented, and authentic. That matters because brands don't just pay for talent, they pay for reliability. They want someone who can represent their company without risk, and Curry delivers that at the highest level. That trust expands his reach. He can connect with kids learning the game, parents buying products, and global audiences watching basketball. He fits in sports, lifestyle, media, and business without feeling forced. That kind of versatility is rare, and it's incredibly valuable. And here's the part most people overlook. Curry didn't just benefit from the system, he helped redesign it. Before Curry, the idea of building an offense around deep three-point shooting was risky. After Curry, it became the standard. Before Curry, smaller guards weren't seen as franchise-altering superstars. After Curry, teams started searching for the next version of him. That kind of influence doesn't just change games, it changes markets. It creates new demand, new training systems, new products, and new opportunities that didn't exist before. And Curry's brand sits right in the middle of that shift. When you influence how the game is played, you automatically increase your long-term value because your impact doesn't fade when you retire. It becomes part of the foundation of the sport itself. That's what makes Curry different. His legacy isn't just attached to wins and stats, it's attached to the way basketball is played worldwide. And that's why his business continues to scale, because Curry didn't just build a career, he built a system. Basketball created the attention built the brand created opportunities, and those opportunities turned into ownership. That full cycle is what separates him from most athletes. Most players rely on contracts. Curry built leverage. Most players wait until retirement to start businesses. Curry built his during his prime. Most players chase endorsements. Curry chased equity. And that's why his wealth keeps compounding. Because while other athletes see their income slow down after their playing days, Curry is building something that can continue to grow long after he steps off the court. That's the difference between making money and creating a machine that makes money. And that's what a billion-dollar brand really is. It's not just a number. It's a system that produces value over time. Curry understood that early, and every major decision he made reflects that understanding. From choosing Under Armour over Nike, to launching Curry Brand, to building SC30, to expanding into media and investments, it all connects back to one idea: ownership over everything. Because once you control the brand, you control the future. And that's the real lesson behind Steph Curry's rise. Basketball made him famous, but ownership is what's making him wealthy. And that one decision, to build equity instead of just collecting checks, is what puts him on the path to a billion-dollar empire. So the next time you see Steph Curry pull up from 30 feet, just remember, that shot didn't just change the game, it built the business behind it.